Rated Gen Z, where real talks get real. Each episode dives deep into the minds of 18 to 24-year-olds, exploring their dreams, struggles, and perspectives that most people never hear. We're diving into the chaos that defines a generation everyone talks about, but nobody actually listens to. This isn't just a podcast. This is a generation speaking. Welcome to Rated Gen Z podcast, Gabby.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to let everyone know that you and I have met, not in person, but we did have a Zoom call. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It was like COVID times.
It's been a hot sec for sure.
Yeah. So I know a lot has happened and I'll let you kind of do your intro, but I'm excited to catch up because you and I haven't spoken in that time. We just follow each other on social media.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just to start off, I guess I'd say I'm a very proud Latina, first generation Mexican American. I like to also say that I'm Puerto Mexican American because I was actually born in Puerto Rico, but my family is all from Mexico.
Okay.
And I was raised in Ohio. So that's like my spiel. But I currently live in LA and I work as an actress and a personal trainer.
I saw that. I was like, is she doing personal training? Because
Yes.
when I stalk you on your Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you and I spoke, you were still with Boston College, Boston
Yes,
University.
Boston University, yeah.
Boston University.
So I grew up basically in Ohio, and then I went to school at the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. I started studying acting there. And then after my third year, I decided to transfer to Boston University, and that's where I ended up getting my degree in acting.
So BU, they have like a good acting program.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was a thing in Boston.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of theater in Boston. I basically majored in theater arts, so I worked on like writing, directing. I directed like a few shows and I acted a lot in a bunch of shows. And I stayed there after graduation. I actually did a play. It was actually really cool. It was a bilingual remake of The Wizard of Oz. And yeah, it was super cute. I got to be Dorotea, so I was like Dorothy. And it was so cute. I got to like meet little girls that were like Hispanic and like I was speaking Spanish with them. I felt like it was my Disney princess kind of vibe.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So clearly you have wanted to be an actress at a young age. And how is that with your parents? Because it's typical that a lot of parents are like, oh, acting, arts. Oh, that's going to be a tough one for you. Did they try to discourage you or were they pretty much like, they did.
Oh, yes. Oh, totally. They did. Well, when I was about like 15 years old, I basically got grounded for 6 months. My parents are really strict. So when they grounded me,
that's a long time.
It was a very long time. And at the time I was like, oh my God, I hate my life. Like you guys suck. But in that time, I really discovered more about myself and what I really love to do, which was anything artistic. Like I spent a lot of time drawing, writing, watching movies, reading plays. And I was like, oh my God, wait, I really want to be an actress. And I did a bunch of research and I saw Emma Stone did like a PowerPoint, like project.
I love her.
Oh my God, me too. Like I was obsessed. And she did like a Project LA PowerPoint for her parents. And it worked for her. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try doing that. So I tried making a PowerPoint. It didn't work. My dad was like, you're going to be, he was like, a social worker. Like, that's what you should do. And I was like,
that's what he wanted you to do is be a social worker. Okay.
Yeah. Like PR, because he was like, you're good with people. And I was like, yeah, but I'm stubborn. So I was like,
that's very Latina of you.
Oh my God. Of course. Yes, it is.
By the way.
When I want something, I will get it and I will do whatever it takes. Because then at the time, it was like 16 and pregnant was like trending on TV. And my brother's always joked, and my dad's like biggest fear was me getting pregnant at that age. Because I'm the youngest, I'm the only girl in the family. We like immigrated to the United States.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like a fear. And I don't know what crossed my mind, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to like write a script and I'm going to fake like a pregnancy.
Oh, God.
And I was like, this is such a good idea. I don't know why I thought that. So I basically wrote like this monologue about how I snuck out and like I hooked up with one of my friends and it was awful because, I was grounded at the time and the drama. I'm so dramatic. And my mom, I did it to my mom first, like after I got home from school. I told her.
Oh my gosh.
And the thing is, my mom was like, oh, like, what are you gonna do? And then she was like, wait, you just had your period. And I was like, crap, you're right. But then she was like, that was so good. We need to do that to your dad.
Oh,
So,
she was
so
on board.
she was on board. Like, I could not have done it without my mom. Like, shout out to my mom. So
Wow.
at dinner, like that night, my brothers leave the table, and my mom's like, Hector, Gabby has something to tell you. And then in that moment, I literally just had to tell him. And I just kept saying, like, what I wrote, which was like, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. Like, I'm so sorry. And he was just like, what'd you do? Like, what did you do? And I was like, I did something really bad. And he was like, what did you do? And I just said, I was like, I snuck out. And he was like, you snuck out? And I was like, yeah, I snuck out. And I'm like crying because honestly, saying that to my parents was already scary enough.
I was gonna say you probably already were like,
Yeah,
so, like what am I
like,
doing in this moment?
And I said it, and I was like, and I'm pregnant. And my dad was fuming. He was like ready to kick me out in that moment. I swear. It was so dramatic. And my mom had to be like, okay, like Hector,
She
like
finally was like, all right, okay, you know what? Maybe we pushed it too far.
a thing. And then after that, my dad was like, whoa. The next day, he comes up to me and he's like, so I just scheduled you or booked you for a summer intensive for Shakespeare at the Cincinnati Shakespeare Company. And if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. Like, you're going to start from square one, like all of the best actors did. And I was like, no, we need to move to LA. And he was like, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Starting in theater and then go up. And honestly, after that, that was like it. Like, then I did that workshop. I did some more workshops in Cincinnati, and then I got into theater at school. I was in a play. I was like a supporting role. I literally got nominated for an award for that, for like my first play. And then Romeo and Juliet, I auditioned for Benvolio. I thought it'd be fun because he is like drunk on stage and messy. And I was like, that's easy. I ended up getting Juliet. Like, it just kind of went up from there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, disclaimer to all of you that want to be actors, maybe not necessarily that script.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know how that happened, but yeah.
But you know what? I mean, talk about like not having to do a PowerPoint. Like that's the way to do it, to really bamboozle your parents with your acting. Um, but I love that because this is something I was going to ask you because before I didn't know this story, and I was going to say, you know, a lot of young adults your age tend to kind of have been able to fall into acting as of late because of social media and being influencers and kind of going a very unconventional route. So the fact that you still went a very conventional route is really cool because, you know, you could say you're a TikTok influencer, which you are, but like you have like a skill set to back up like, hey, I'm an actress. Like, it's not just me doing videos on TikTok or on social media. Not to also discount people that do that, because it is a great way to also be able to get your foot in the door. But like, what has it taught you to go that traditional route?
Oh, I feel like starting with theater was just, it was the right thing for me because I needed to learn that discipline of going to rehearsals and spending time learning about the world and sitting in the world and putting all of this text in my body and being around other people who were committed in the craft. And also because in theater, you have to go through like tech and you have to do rehearsals and then you do tech and then you do the performances. But like, if you mess up, you have to keep going, you know, like the show must go on.
Yeah.
And it's so true. Like, you just have to keep going. And that is something that has helped me a lot with even auditioning in person, because if I mess up, like, you just got to keep going. Like, if you stop and say like, oh, I'm so sorry, like I messed up, that's not worse, but you just have to be in the moment. And I feel like that's what theater really taught me. And it also made me really grateful for absolutely everyone involved. Like, not just the actors, because we're on the stage, but like, who is building the set? Who is working the lights? Who is there before all of the actors are even there?
Yeah.
It's all of the tech people and like everyone that's working backstage, the costume designers, like everyone is so important, and every single role has like every role matters, you know, it adds
Yeah.
up to the bigger picture. And without that one costume designer, it wouldn't be the same show, you know? So
Yeah.
it kind of taught me that, like the importance of having that community.
No, that's great. Because that's the thing too, is like when you're working on set and you have work, like it really matters how you treat the rest of the people on
Yeah.
set, those that are not in front of the camera, but behind the camera, because that also gets around too, is your work ethic and how you treat others. And I think that's an element that's still very important of having that mutual
Mhm.
respect with everyone.
Yeah.
So, kudos to you for
Yeah, I mean, it's the
for
team that
for that.
matters. And I know that because, like, in school, especially going to like studying theater in college, they make you, or at least I was kind of like not forced, but we had to take stagecraft. So, like,
Okay.
you know, building the sets and like painting. And I felt like, duh, duh. Like, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know
Yeah.
how people do this because this is just not what I'm good at. But it made me appreciate that so much more,
Yeah.
appreciate everyone who actually is committed to creating the best show because everything just matters like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what, like, ideally is your kind of, I guess, acting of choice or like medium or whatever you will, theater, movie, TV show? Like, do you have anything in mind when it comes to that?
Yeah.
Like what you want to
Well, I
do?
would say I will never say no to like a stage play because I love playing on stage. I think that's always super fun. But I also really I like films and I like TV. And in those genres, I kind of I gravitate towards more drama,
Hmm.
which I don't mind because I would say that I'm a very in touch with drama.
Yes.
But I also tend to gravitate towards a lot of comedy and a lot of sci-fi kind of adventure-ish kind of stuff.
Oh, what would you say is like a sci-fi adventure that you like, TV show wise? I'm
Um,
curious.
I think what comes to mind is more movies like Avatar,
Oh, okay.
you know, like
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana is just like amazing and I love her.
Yeah, I've
But
gotten to see hear her speak twice here, and she's amazing. Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah, I love her so much. But she has a lot of like kind of my quote unquote type. So like the things that I go in for a lot for like auditions, which is that kind of lead roles of a confident woman who has like something different with them, something a little
Yeah.
weird.
Like
But
quirky.
yeah, a
Yeah.
little quirky. Um, but yeah, that's and I've been exploring more, and I feel like the more I've been here in LA, I also keep track of like everything that I've ever auditioned for. So that I
Okay.
can just see it and see like my growth and see the trends that I have. So like who calls me in more, what kind of companies like me, and that's something that I've noticed a lot of is lead roles, like the Latina supporting someone that's confident or like the hot spicy girl because I get those a lot. They're like they look
Yeah.
they're
No, I
like
was going to ask you about that. Like, are you like still seeing typecasting with Latinas? Because we're very mainstream. Like
hmm,
the community is mainstream. We're not like the minority, right? And so they were saying how there still isn't representation on screen,
hmm.
to match the amount of people that come and see them, in the theater. So I'm curious, like, are you still seeing the typecasting, or are you finally seeing at least like more roles that are
Yeah.
offered?
I feel like I do see the typecasting is still real, I would say. I think it's still very common, but I
Hmm.
do think that we are like slowly straying away from it and they're becoming more open to other options. I mean, like when I'm even self-submitting for things, I will see like a description that says like white, Eastern European, and I will still apply because I'm like, I don't know, maybe they'll call me in. And then sometimes they do.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well, I
like,
mean, I'm pretty sure there's been it's like situations where like people have ended up being the complete opposite of what they wanted for the role, and then they
yes.
ended up being like better than what they expected. So I find that like that is actually really smart. Why not?
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes they have an idea of what they want, but it's good to also have a taste of, oh, wait, this is who I am. What if I brought this to the table? And then sometimes it's kind of like a surprise to them, like, oh, wait, maybe we could change it. Maybe
Yeah.
the image that we have of this person isn't necessarily a ride or die, you know?
Yeah. No, that's really
Hmm.
important because maybe
Yeah.
they didn't understand like a side of maybe this particular culture or,
Yeah.
and then you showcase it in a way where they're like, oh, okay, that transcends. Like,
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
for sure. And I feel
Yeah.
like the only place that I see it really being kind of like a negative effect is sometimes in language, like in the writing. You
Hmm.
can always tell, or not always, but it's very, it's common to be able to tell who is writing what, you know?
Gotcha. Makes
And
sense. Yeah.
I say that especially for things that are like bilingual, because sometimes things will be translated either like incorrectly or they'll be looking for like a Latina, but it's like
Yeah.
Spanish that isn't actually, it's like, what kind are you looking for? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, I was
There's
going to say,
like,
I don't think people realize that when it comes to Spanish, there are so many different dialects,
yeah,
and just even the words don't necessarily translate. And like Puerto Rican Spanish is very different than Mexican Spanish. Like there
yeah,
are words in Puerto Rico that we know are very offensive in
yeah,
Mexican Spanish, where you can't say like coger. Like
yeah,
in Puerto
right.
Rico, like to grab something, es cogerlo. And then in Mexican Spanish, it's the version of, like doing the nasty.
Intimacy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Like
like
that,
so
that to
this,
me was like shocking when I went to Puerto Rico because they're like,
yeah.
oh, cógelo. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, literally, you're like, excuse me. Yeah. And that's
I
something that
will
like
not.
only, yeah, we know as people who speak Spanish, you know? And I think that's like something really interesting. And I want to see more of that. I think that'd be really, really cool
Yeah.
to see that mix and like difference between each dialect too.
Yeah. Because even Zoe, isn't she Dominican Republic, but she's like Afro
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she's Puerto
Latina.
Rican and Dominican.
Okay, yeah. So it's like she's got a beautiful mix too, and that's the
Mm.
thing. It's like, and then you go to Brazil and it's Portuguese. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
you don't speak
what?
Spanish? I'm like, yeah, it's a totally different language that I don't
Yeah.
know.
So it's like it's in they're still like Latin America. So
Yeah,
it's interesting. And I like seeing that being explored more in this medium. And
yeah.
it's cool to also connect with people like that online because I feel like that's something that, especially like on TikTok, I used to create like these little foreign phrases that just make sense and then say like,
Oh, is that that's
oh my
like
gosh,
your
yeah. That was
content?
like a lot of people like those. I would say something that was like kind of bad in like Mexican Spanish,
Yeah.
and jokingly quote unquote translate it to English,
Oh,
say it meant something else, but it didn't. But it was like a joke. It was obviously a
yeah,
joke. But that I made like a really good community of people who were like first generation Mexican Americans and just like Latinos throughout the states and like around the world through that, just social media,
yeah,
which is sweet.
yeah. So what content like do you create now? Like, have you taken a major shift in like what you do now?
So on
This,
TikTok, I was like I like to say I was one of the first people who downloaded TikTok, but that's probably a lie. But
well,
I
when did
downloaded
TikTok come out technically?
2018.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was already like making videos and I told none of my friends about it. But when I finally got like 10,000 followers, you're able to go live. And so I would always go live because I just liked talking to people online.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. But then I slowly started shifting my content to like sort of being just making fun of being like Mexican American and like
Yeah.
trying to be relatable in the sense of being like Latina and how like weird it can be growing up here, but not being. I always feel like I'm not Mexican enough, but I'm also like not American enough.
And that is the thing. Like, I
Yeah.
want people to truly understand that like, even I was watching Jay Shetty podcast and Selena Gomez was on it. And she
Mhm.
was talking about how, especially with Emilia Perez, the latest
Mhm.
movie, I don't know if you saw it,
Mhm.
but she was critiqued highly because her Spanish wasn't Spanish and like Mexican enough, or
Right.
she's not Mexican enough, she's not white enough. And so it's like, I want people to know that like it is a struggle for a lot of people that grow up here but are born from another country. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Mexican American. It could be,
Yeah.
I had a young woman who's Chinese who came over
Mhm.
when she was 11, and she talked about the different cultures. And it's like, I don't know why people are so like harsh when it comes to that. Like you're not enough of this and you're not enough of that.
Yeah. Or even growing up, I would get asked if like I was, which is crazy, but like if I was like even legal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what kind of question is that? That's weird. And also, I'm like, you realize I was born in Puerto Rico. That's
Yeah, that's
mistakes. But like, so a little bit uneducated there with that. But it is interesting. It can be really frustrating. So it's nice to have friends and like community that really understands that, whether it be them being Hispanic or even from anywhere. I got
Yeah.
a lot of like Asian American friends or like
Yep.
Indian American friends, and like we always bond over that.
So I wanted to ask personal trainer, like I'm looking at your guns right now.
Thanks.
Your arms, guys. So was that something you've always been interested in, the fitness world, or is that something you kind of fell into?
Yeah, so actually, I was always into fitness. I grew up a runner, so I ran cross country in middle
Oh,
school and then in high school, and then I was offered to run in colleges, but I none of them were like aligned with what I wanted to do, especially with theater, because I
okay.
couldn't be doing a sport and theater because those are the
Yeah.
times conflict. And also, I was like, I see myself going more towards this acting career, but I've always been very into the gym and very into just being healthy and taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And when I was after I graduated in Boston, I actually worked at Equinox over there because I wanted a gym membership for free. And
Yeah.
in Cincinnati,
Fancy.
yeah, and it's fancy. And
Yeah.
in Cincinnati, I actually worked at a yoga studio for 2 years, Moto Yoga.
Okay.
And I almost got my yoga cert, which was really cool. But at the time,
I had my RYT, so
yeah, I saw
I taught
that,
yoga for years.
which
Yeah.
is amazing. I love yoga. Like, just I love the world of health and fitness
Yeah.
has been interesting to me. And when I graduated and I was still auditioning for shows, I was struggling to like settle into a place that was going to work, like making money, but also be flexible with what I want to do as an actress and as a creative. And eventually I realized, like, when I moved to LA, I just transferred because I was working front desk at Equinox. I just worked front desk here. And then I was working a lot because I really wanted money and
Yeah.
I was still working on my auditions, but I slowly transitioned into training and I got certified because I was like, wait, I can actually use what I know in terms of my body and use it as like an advantage and
Yeah.
help other people feel better about themselves. So now I work as a trainer at Equinox and I feel like every day is almost like an act, the actress in me, because I have to use my voice, I have to
Yeah.
project, I have to move, I have to teach people how to do dynamic warm-ups,
Yeah. And
movement.
you have to also adapt to like who your client is, right? Like you have to
Yes.
be really good about like your personality has to match like so that that person will be motivated to do the 10 million freaking burpees you're making them do.
Yeah. Like I have to kind of find what kind of person does this person need
Yes,
to help them reach their goals? And then in a way, I feel
exactly.
like I kind of adapt myself to be
Yes.
that for them. So I find that very fun and very fulfilling because I still get to be in a really good environment that's like sustainable.
Yeah, so I actually got into Pilates. I do it every single day. And oddly enough, the episode that I'm releasing tomorrow is my Pilates instructor. One of
Oh,
my instructors, yeah. Sophia, who's from Mexico City. So it's funny because like I was intimidated by it, but as a yoga instructor and cycle instructor, I was like, let me try it. And now I'm freaking obsessed.
cool.
Just
Yeah. It
yeah,
feels so good to move your body, especially if you're a creative person. I feel like that goes hand in hand. Like we
yeah.
feel that.
And the community too, because like I will say that like there's regulars that go in there. Now I've made friends with the other students. And then,
Yeah.
like I said, my instructor, like she kind of reminds me of my daughter. So I go in there not just to like work out, but to just this community and to laugh and I have like those that's how I start my morning is with
Yeah.
Pilates. And it's
Oh,
like
that's
a great way to
amazing.
start my morning. Just I get so
Yeah.
happy with these other women that are also there's some women in there that are 80 years old and they're killing it.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like it's so important. And that's a good balance for you. Yeah. Because with acting, I feel like you have to have a good outlet.
yeah, for sure. And I feel like as a creative person, I get to use my creativity when I'm training people, when I'm
Yeah.
creating programs, and I get to make people laugh all the time too. That was what actually I was talking to my acting manager yesterday, and he was telling me like, yeah, a trainer, like I want to spend an hour laughing with someone, like having a good time while I'm working out, not
Yeah.
just like
Hey, it
being,
works your obliques if you
yeah,
laugh really
yeah,
hard.
that too. So like we're having a good time and we're working out. So it's all working out.
Oh my gosh. So tell me, like, what is like your everyday routine for someone that is a creator and acting and then doing your, personal training? Like, so how do you balance that? Like, what is it every day, like Gabby
Uh,
day look like?
yeah. So I like to get up pretty early in the morning, like around 5:36, because I am just a ball of energy. And I kind of try to set my day well by like, I get out of bed and I make my bed. And
Me
I'm like,
too. First thing I do when I get out of
yes,
bed.
time to start the day.
Yes.
And I kind of have to create a little to-do list of what I need to do because sometimes I have clients at like every day is a little bit different because sometimes I'll have clients at like 6:30 in the morning or I'll start at like 9 or even like 11. So I kind of take at least an hour of time to wake up myself, like think about what I want to accomplish in the day, check my emails, check if I have any auditions, how my submissions have been, read the news. I like to read the news a lot because
Okay.
it's important to be up to date with everything that's
Yeah.
happening. And then I go off, I do my clients. I always find time to work out in between. And then whether it be like I'm on the Stairmaster or I am not even working out, I will be like submitting for auditions, like on my phone or like reading sides. And
So
then
how do you find out about auditions? Is it your agent? Is
yeah,
it
so
okay?
I do have after I graduated from Boston, I was like really lucky and super grateful to sign with a manager out here. I'm with Aligned Entertainment. And
Okay.
then that's why like I moved out here because they were out here. And so they're always sending me auditions, but I also self-submit to auditions myself. So I use like casting websites like Casting Networks, Backstage, Actors Access, that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
so there's websites you go to and that's where you find them. Okay.
Yeah. And then just submitting and just also always updating my profile, like my headshots, making sure that look like them, that I have a variety.
I feel like that's a thing though too, with so many filters out there and everything that
Yes,
like,
it's crazy. You
yeah,
really want your headshot to look like you because if they call you in and you don't look like the picture you sent, it's kind of
yeah, they're like, excuse me, we were waiting
yeah,
for so and so, and you're like, that's not,
yeah.
yeah, that's embarrassing.
So yeah. But anytime that I like to section like my 1 hour segments into, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour submitting. Or, okay,
Okay.
fine, I'm going to do 30 minutes of submitting and then 30 minutes of research, like looking up who's working on what movies and that kind of stuff. I always say, like, I'm focusing on my career in that time.
Okay.
Bring myself
And do you
along.
have like I mean, you personal trainer, so you have the workout, but do you have other like self-care routines, if you will?
Yeah. I mean, I like to, on Sundays, I don't like to do anything with anyone. I like to,
Oh, it's
uh,
like solo Sunday.
yes, it's like a Sunday, solo Sunday. It's a
Yeah.
reset. I like to, it's the only day that I get to sleep in. So I like to sleep
Okay.
in and I don't work at all. And I also like to, that's when I like to do like some face masks. Sometimes I'll go to like, what's it called? It's not a cold plunge. What is it?
Oh, the
Yes.
cryotherapy. Yeah, the
Cryo.
freezing. Yeah,
Yeah.
cryotherapy. Yeah.
Yeah. Cryo. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
And
what it is.
I really like to take care of myself. Like I prioritize my self-care a lot, especially like at the end of the night. Like my night routine is like an hour of like, you know, reset for the day, for the next day. Like make my
Yeah.
breakfast, my lunch, my snacks, set it out so that in the next day in the morning when I have that 1 hour to myself, I
Yeah.
I can really focus on myself and not have to worry about making food or anything like that. But my Sundays are always to myself. Like take myself out on a walk or take myself out to a movie. And usually I'll do something outside, like what, like running.
Yeah.
My long runs on Sunday because I love to run. And yeah, that's like basically it. And just read. I really like to just fuel myself with more creativeness. But I
Yeah.
do feel sometimes drained socially with my job and like with what
Yeah.
I have to do. So if that means I have to stay in and like do absolutely nothing and shut myself in my room, I will do that
Well,
happily.
no, I love that you're like honoring your body and how you feel and the fact that like they solo Sundays. I love that. And I mean, you seem like a very confident person, but you're like, in a career in a world that is very superficial and very much about aesthetics. So like how do you even deal with that? Like, do you have your moments of
Oh my
insecurity where
gosh.
like, oh my gosh, or are you pretty much like, no, I'm who I am and I'm proud of who I
Oh
am?
my God, no, I totally have moments of insecurity. It's crazy. I mean, it can
Yeah,
be really, what I do like about the acting is that sometimes if I audition for something and I don't hear back, I will forget about it because I'm the kind of person that's like out of sight, out of mind. I
me
do what
too.
I can in the moment and then I let it go because it's out of my control. So
Yeah,
the more I think of like, I can control what I can control, which is me, how I feel, what I do, what I fuel myself with, how I take care of myself, the better I feel. Because then I feel like, oh, I can't blame anyone but me if I don't take care of myself.
right.
But it is hard. I mean, I feel like it's really easy to compare with other people, what other people are doing and their success or what they look like
Yeah,
or anything really. And I feel like the thing that gets me out of that is putting my phone away, first of all. And second of all, just moving my body, like distracting
yeah,
myself somehow and just giving myself those affirmations of like, I am fine. Like,
yeah.
I'm doing all that I can and
Yeah,
that I'm capable of, and that's enough right now. So that is enough. But like, it's a lot of reassurance because it can be really hard
yeah.
and lonely. My first year here was very hard. I was really lonely and I felt like I wasn't doing anything right.
Was it major culture shock for you coming from Ohio and Boston?
I feel like kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
It also just felt like, oh my gosh, how do I make friends? Because in such a digital world that we live in, I was like, I want to go out and meet people. And now
yeah,
I'm going to like events like run clubs, and my friend hosts this picnic club. And I feel like those are also great outlets to meet people in person and not be
yeah,
online. But the more I kind of get away from being online and comparing to people and just like, what can I do for myself? Maybe I
yeah.
need therapy, shopping therapy. Let's go shopping. And then I'm like, oh, I'm so pretty. It's amazing. Then like whatever I can do to make myself
Yeah,
feel better is what I try my best to do. Or talk about it
no,
with someone. It's also
yeah.
nice.
Well, I have to say, like, for any young women that are going to be listening to this, like, I feel like you're someone that has really done a good job of recognizing that, like, it's not all about being online and on your phone and how you look. Like, you seem to be pretty well rounded with everything in the sense that, like, you have this really good head on your shoulders where, like, yeah, of course you have your insecurities, but there's like this calm about you where like you don't let it get to you where in a way that a lot of young women let it get to them.
Mhm.
And I hope that like people can take you as like a good healthy example of what it could look like to be an actress, an influencer, a content creator, but still like have a life outside of that, like a
Yeah.
healthy one.
Oh yeah, and I do have friends who are also very big online, like on Instagram, and they're influencers themselves. And they sometimes they create more content than I do because I'm not like fully committed to that as much as I used to be.
Yeah.
And they will take like a day to film and edit all of their stuff to pre-plan it for the week. And it's kind of the same thing because when we hang out together, our phones are away. Like we're trying to be here. And
Yeah.
if they're not, I will yell at my friends. I will tell them, guys, we're together right now. Like,
Yeah. Like be present.
let's be
Like,
present.
yes.
Because, if we're like sucked in our phones all the time, it's so toxic. It can get so bad. And it's
Yeah.
so easy to compare, especially in the fitness industry too, because there's so
Oh,
many
yeah.
fitness influencers that really, oof, there's just a lot. I have this friend that goes to the gym who is beautiful, a beautiful man, like chiseled everything. And I saw him editing his pictures once. And I was like, what are you
What is it?
doing? You do not have, like, out of all people, I was like, you do not have to edit anything that you post. And
Yeah.
it really just shocked me because there are so many people who, at the end of the day, like, we're all just trying our best. And it's so easy to be fake online.
That's where I really hope that people start realizing that like we're just making it worse by trying to
Yeah.
look a certain way or be a certain way. And I think I don't know about you, but I find that it's like I do see a change, like that more and more people want like just the
Oh, yeah.
real, like they want to see the flaws because then
Mhm.
it makes them feel like, okay, I'm okay too.
Yeah.
I think we're finally starting to see that like it's not healthy.
Yeah. And there are a lot of health issues that happen. Like
Yeah.
I know some people that come to my gym, they have BBLs that they need to keep up and they need to work out because it starts to drop.
Oh,
Because it's not a natural thing that they put inside of their body and their
yeah.
body can't hold it up. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, wow, there are so many things that we can do to ourselves, but at the end of the day, we still need to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we still need to do it. Even if
Yeah.
you want to have that surgery, you still need to work out to keep it up. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We could just work out to get the body that you want, you know? But I just think it's really sad. That's something that I've been seeing a lot of, especially being in LA, people having a lot of surgical procedures done and like normalization of that. Wow. It's also kind of when I see someone online or even in person sometimes, I kind of remind myself like, oh, well, we don't know, I don't know what they're going through. And honestly, like maybe they've also done something to themselves that because they didn't like the way they looked. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a weird, we're all just trying to feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, I am in this place of I'm turning 50 this year and I've been letting my gray hair grow in. Like I haven't colored my hair in over a year. It's like up to here and it's like gray. And I have friends that are like, you're gonna let your hair keep growing gray? I was like, yeah, I want to see. Like I don't do Botox. I don't, I get some facial treatments, but I'm trying my best to age gracefully. I really
Hey,
am, because
yeah,
like
well, you look beautiful. Oh
well,
my
thank you.
gosh.
I appreciate it. I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of a
Absolutely.
filter here on the Zoom. You know how you can like adjust your like so,
Yeah.
my because I do have eczema. Like I'm starting to get eczema under my eye and like
Oh,
on my neck, so it's a little annoying. But like once again, I'm like, hey, as I get older, I'm getting eczema, which I've never had before, like my
yeah.
hormones, all these things. But it is a struggle, but at the same time, like if I'm trying to empower women and I'm trying to be like someone that's and like trying to be a good role model to the all the youth that I talk to, I was like, I have to be able to be like exemplify that. I can't.
Exactly.
So, just even with the filters and everything, like I was guilty of putting filters on my face in the beginning a little bit. And now I'm like,
Yeah.
Raquel, like this is what you look like, so just own it.
Yeah. And I feel like when I look back at pictures of myself too, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see the difference in my age. And it's not necessarily like a bad thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like the more I grow, the more I'm learning to accept who I am too.
Yeah.
Everyone has like, I feel like we all still have our insecurities and it's easy to fall into them, but we can never be too obsessed with ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
I have so many mirrors in my room because I'm always like looking at myself when I'm talking. Like, if I'm talking to myself,
And
whenever.
here I just added that mirror
Yeah.
to my wall. But I'm more for like aesthetics, but yeah, it is there someone was saying something about like not having mirrors in their home. I'm like, well, even when they get ready, I was like, that I don't know how anybody does that, but I mean, that would be pretty amazing to
Fun.
like do an experiment of not having a mirror when you get ready and just walking out into the world and being like, I don't know what I look like.
That would be a lot for me. I that would be a lot. I wake up and I look at myself. I'm like, who are we dealing with today?
Yeah.
Because I also feel like the person at the end of the day, the only person that we have is ourselves. And if we
Yeah.
can't fully love ourselves or at least try, then how are we going to be able to pour into other people's glasses?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and also like as of late, and this is might be an age thing too, is that I'm like getting better really looking at myself, like
Mm,
at everything. Once again, the aging, the wrinkles, the like the gray hair, all of these things, my body not being as
mhm,
tight and fit as it used to be, even though I'm doing Pilates every day. I was like, damn it, I'm like
mhm.
in the best shape, like health wise, and yet I don't look as good as I used to. But whatever. But like I'm getting better at like looking at myself and just really appreciating like my body and how I look at this age and just looking at myself and being like, you are worthy and
Yeah.
look at all what you've gone through and this and that. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
it's like you have to look at yourself in the mirror in the morning sometimes and be like, all right, girl, we got this.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be there for yourself. I mean, I have what do I do with my clients? There's a lot of them where I'm always trying to like hype them up too, because a lot of them will like tell me about their insecurities and like things
Yeah.
that we can work on. And like I have a client who was telling me that she didn't like her veins on her body. And that to me, I was like, oh my God, like you need to love your veins because your veins, that's blood. Like that is
Yeah.
how you are living, breathing.
Literally pumping blood.
Yeah. And like I think that's incredible that our bodies can do that. And I don't really have it's all honestly like very genetic for veininess to show on your body. And I don't have that a lot. But I was like, listen, I have one vein and it's right here.
And I am proud.
I'm proud of it. I think it's so cute. But like, yeah, it's just like taking appreciation of the little things. I mean, when I was little, I used to hate this beauty mark that I have on my face. And my dad used to tell me that, he was like, that's gonna make you stand out because Marilyn Monroe has a beauty mark.
Yeah.
And every time there's like a celebrity with like any sort of beauty mark, he sends me a picture of it. Like Gal Gadot has like and like Natalie Portman has some. And
I have. Do you see this little mole under my lip?
Oh yeah.
You know how many people are like, you have something, like they think I have chocolate or something, and they like try to take it off. I'm like, no, it's a mole, people. But yeah,
like
same thing. Yeah,
That's what
I know, and I
makes
have one over here too, or here or something like that. Yeah, like Cindy Crawford. I mean, she's got a beautiful mole too.
Yeah, absolutely. Or even like going to the gym. Sometimes there'll be people who want to like put on makeup, right? And I had a friend who was an esthetician, and I used to wear makeup to work a lot.
Yeah.
And I would break out a lot, and I'd be so upset about it because as I'm getting older too, I'm realizing for some reason, I didn't know this. I have sensitive skin. I didn't know that until I burnt my skin with retinol. That was crazy.
Oh gosh.
But she told me about how I should take care of my skin, especially if I'm working out. And that's something that I always like tell my clients too. But like, it's crazy how natural we actually, as human as we can be, is the best.
Yeah.
Like the less we do to ourselves, the better, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's almost hard because it's easy to just, if there's a quick fix, like if I want my lips to be bigger and get lip fill or something, I could do that if I really wanted to invest my money into that. But it's crazy how accessible it is. But I'm really like a big advocate of like, we are all so beautiful as human beings. Like there's something special about each and every one of us. Like let's enhance that instead.
I love it. Well, I think like that's the perfect way to end the podcast is just like, being positive about ourselves in a way that like, like this is me and I love it.
You are the first piece of your community.
Yeah. Well, if we can love ourselves, then we can spread the love, and the more love that we can spread, the better we all are for it. So like it has to start somewhere. So I love it. Yay. Well, Gabby, thank you. I do feel like you're going to really inspire a lot of women out there because you have a good head on your shoulders. And
thank you. I sure hope so.
I'm proud to know you and I'm gonna have you in my documentary because I definitely want you a part of it, like for sure. So you'll get to see more of Gabby.
Yay! Totally. And add me on anything. Message me. I don't care. I'll talk. I'm a talker.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, like they can reach out to you on social media, I'm assuming. And
it's my full name. So it's Gabriela Medina Toledo with Mel and Gabriela.
I love it. I love it. All right, Gabby. Well, thanks
If you enjoyed this episode and you're between the ages of 18 and 24 and would like to be a featured guest, go to rock.vision. Until next week.